This hadith is the end of the chapter on marad, is the du'a ziyaratil maqabir. Du'a ziyaratul maqabir. The du'a of visiting the graves. The du'a of visiting the graves. So ziyara, as we said, means to visit, from zawara. And we had the other word, which was auda, right? And Zubair had asked me about the masdar, and I told him it was auda. But auda is the masdar for ada, or ada, meaning to return. But for visiting, it would be i'ada, as I have written over here. I'ada. That would be visiting. But the auda would be the masdar for ada, which would be to return from somewhere. So I had to make sure I get that information to him. So the dua for visiting the maqabir. We should all be familiar with the word maqabir because it's in the second ayat of At-Takathur, right? Hatta zurtumul maqabir, until you visit the graves. An Buraidah radiyallahu anhu قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلمهم إذا خرجوا إلى المقابر. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would, here kana puts it in the past tense, would, yu'allimuhum, he would teach them. He would teach them when, either, or if, but when, kharaju, if they went out, if they exited out, ila al-maqabir, if they went out to the graves. Now the word for cemetery is maqbara. So here we're talking about the graves, not the cemetery, even though it's the same meaning, right? But maqbara, assalamu alaikum, Yasin. So maqbara is the word for cemetery. Here is going to the graves, but it's the same thing. But just so you know the difference in the words, so you don't think maqabir is cemetery, right? Ila al-maqabir. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلمهم, he used to teach them, إذا خرجوا إلى المقابر, when they used to go out to the graves. He used to teach them to say, or yes, Assalamu alaikum ahl al-diyar. Diyar comes from dor or dar. Like we have the publishing company, Dar as-Salam. Dar means land, right? Or a place. Or it can mean houses, right? Dar can mean house. Diyar is plural of dar. Diyar is the plural of dar. So Ahl al-Diyar. Assalamu alaikum Ahl al-Diyar. Meaning inhabitants of this place, right? Ahl, the people of these houses, meaning these graves. Because that's your house. When you die, that's your house. That's why don't worry about how fancy your house is in this life. Worry about making sure your house after you die is not filled with fire and all of that stuff. Worry about doing good deeds in this life so that your house in the barzakh, between the life between death and resurrection, worry about that grave, worry about that house. That house is going to be more important to you. You might live for 70, 80 years and be in the grave. You might be in that house for 1,000 years. 2,000-3,000 years. You don't know how long it will be. So, Ahl Diyar. Assalamu alaikum, Ahl Diyar. Meaning inhabitants of these houses. Inhabitants of these houses. He's calling the Maqabir Diyar. Diyar. Min al-mu'minina wal-muslimin. Believers and the Muslims. Right? Assalamu alaikum Ahl al-Diyar min al-mu'mineen wal-muslimin. So he's giving the salams to the mu'mineen and the muslimin, showing you that there's a difference between the believers and the Muslims. The believers are those who have more iman, and the Muslims are those who profess the outward actions of Islam, right? As Allah says in Surah Al-Hujurat, don't say you believe, but say you have submitted. Say that you have become Muslims, right? وَإِنَّا, and verily we. This is inna plus the pronoun of na for nahnu, we. Verily we, insha'Allah, if Allah wills, lahikun, lallahikun, meaning lallahikun. This la is like an emphasis here, this first one. It's like an emphasis. Lahiq from lahaqa means to meet someone or to meet them. So it's saying, insha'Allah, inna insha'Allah lalahikun, meaning we will meet you soon. We will join you soon. More so joining than meeting. Joining than meeting, right? Inna insha'Allah lalahikun, meaning we'll meet you soon. Meaning we'll be dead as well in the graves with you. As'alullah, I ask Allah. Allah, you're asking Allah. He's the maf'ul. Allah, lafzul jalala is the maf'ul here. It's mansoob. As'alullah lana wa lakum al-afiyah. For us and for you, al-afiyah, meaning soundness, health, safety. Afiyah means safety, health, soundness. So as'alullah, I ask Allah, lana wa lakum, for us and for you, al-afiyah, safety, soundness, good health, meaning in the grave. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim from Burda, from Buraida rather, not Burda, Buraida. We have one coming up from Burda, Abi Burda, 2257. 2257 in Sahih Muslim. Any questions? Abu Tahir, you want to read for us?
عن بريدة رضي الله عنه قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلمهم إذا خرجوا إلى المقابر السلام عليكم أهل الديار من المؤمنين والمسلمين وإنا إن شاء الله للاحقون أسأل الله لنا ولكم العافية.
You said it real quick, so I don't know if I misheard it or not, but you want to make sure you say as'alullaha, not as'ala, but as'alu. You just want to make sure you put that dhamma on the lam, otherwise it could change the meaning. You might have said it, but I just heard it quickly, that's all.
As'alullaha. I might not have said it, alhamdulillah.
I don't know, so I'm just making sure.
Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feekum.
Feekum barak. Abdullah.
عن بريدة رضي الله عنه قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلم يعلمهم إذا خرجوا إلى المقابر السلام عليكم أهل الديار من المؤمنين والمسلمين وإن إن شاء الله للاحقون أسأل الله لنا ولكم العافية.
نعم يلا يا محرم.
عن بريدة رضي الله عنه قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلمهم إذا خرجوا إلى المقابر السلام عليكم أهل الديار من المؤمنين والمسلمين وإنا إن شاء الله للاحقون أسأل الله لنا ولكم العافية.
نعم يلا يا ياسين.
عن بريدة رضي الله عنه قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلمهم إذا خرجوا إلى المقابر السلام عليكم أهل الديار من المؤمنين والمسلمين وإنا إن شاء الله للاحقون أسأل الله لنا ولكم العافية.
I want to say before continuing that this lahikun, I said it like meeting or joining. It doesn't mean like to meet in the middle or somewhere like that. Rather, you are somewhere and you are going to reach them and catch them and meet them in their place, as it could also mean to reach, right? It can also mean to reach or to like catch up. So I don't want you to think that it means like you could use this as a word for a meeting somewhere or something. No. Lahikun means we'll catch up with you, we'll reach you, we'll meet you and join you in your place. So I want to make sure that I clarify that, inshallah ta'ala. Next section is Al-Musiba. Al-Musiba is a difficulty or a hardship, something like that. What to say in difficulties and hardships, right? Dua al-Karb. Al-Karb is another word for difficulty or hardship. It's another word for difficulty or hardship. Let's see if I can see something. A burden or anything that you're worried about, stressed about, any type of worry or stress or hardship or difficulty that you're going through. Al-Karb, right? So when that happens to you, when you're having some difficulty, then you can use these du'as. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول عند الكرب لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم. Used to say لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم العظيم الحليم. Azim, the great, from Azim mean the great, the mighty. Al-Halim, Halim is patient, or it has to deal with patience. The exact translation of it, give me a second, because Halim has to do with being patient, but be even more than regular patience. One second here. It has to do with being patient and being like having insight with that patience, though, not just being patient like you don't know what's going on, but you know it's from Allah. But Halim has a little bit has more insight and more reasoning and determination inside of that patience. لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم. لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم. Rabbul Arsh, the Lord of the throne. Arsh is the throne. And this is Mudaf Ilay. And this is an adjective to Arsh. Rabbul Arsh al-Azim. The Lord of the mighty throne, or the great throne. Right? The Lord of the mighty throne, the great throne. La ilaha illallah Rabbus Samawati. Lord of the heavens. Rabbul Ard, and Lord of the earth. Wa Rabbul Arshil Kareem, and the Lord of the noble throne. The Lord of the noble throne. It's pretty simple. This hadith, stuff that we are pretty familiar with. Got to memorize the wording of it. This is in Bukhari and Muslim. From Ibn Abbas. From Ibn Abbas. Bukhari, it is 63:45 and 63:46 and 74:31 and 74:32. In Muslim, it is number 6921. Right? From Ibn Abbas. Any questions?
You said, I didn't get the last part when you said Al-Karimi. Arsh Al-Karimi.
Noble.
Noble.
No. We can find out exactly how they translated it in Dar es Salaam. If you give me a second while we read. If Abdullah wants to start it off.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول عند الكرب لا إله إلا الله هو العظيم الحليم لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم.
نعم. يلا يا محرم.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول عند الكرب لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم.
نعم. يلا يا ياسين.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول عند الكرب لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم.
نعم. It says here right before Abu Tahir reads, it says, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, the Almighty, the forbearing. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah, the Lord of the mighty throne. None has a right to be worshipped but Allah, Lord of the heavens and the Lord of the earth and the Lord of the mighty throne. Again, they translated Kareem as mighty again. But Kareem is noble. It's not mighty. Allah knows best. That was in both Bukhari and Muslim. They translated it like that. So, but Kareem is noble. Doesn't mean mighty, and Allah knows best.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول عند القرب لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم.
Yeah, I can't find where Kareem would mean mighty, but Allah knows best. Allah knows best. إذا أصيب بمصيبة. If someone is struck with a difficulty. Musiba and usib is going to come from the sad waw ba. Right? Meaning to strike. Right? Or to be correct. Sawab, for instance, sawab. Meaning you hit the mark. You hit the mark. You got a bullseye, you hit the mark, right? Sawab. So if something difficult strikes you, right? Something here, Ida usiba, this is past tense, right? Bi musibatin. If someone is struck with a musiba. Bi musibatin, with a difficulty. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقل لو أني فعلت كان كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل فإن اللو تفتح عمل الشيطان. He says, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن أصابك شيء. And if there's a difficulty, if anything befalls you, if anything hits you or strikes you or befalls you, if any difficulty hits you or strikes you or befalls you, using the word asaba, if anything difficult or strikes you, فَلَا تَقُولْ, then don't say لو, don't say if أني فعلت. لو, فَلَا تَقُولْ, don't say لو if أني فعلت, if I had only done. Meaning if I had only done this or that, right? If I had only, and you'll get there. كان لو أني فعلت كان كذا وكذا. كان كذا وكذا means then such and such. كذا means such. Oh, I did that wrong. كذا means such. So if you want to talk about how you know how you do so and so or such stuff, you know, so and so would be different, but such and such, when you use those words such and such, then that's kada wa kada. And if you did as such, you would just say kada. But kada wa kada is such and such. Like, if I had done, then such and such would have happened. Kana kada wa kada. Then such and such would have been. So, as an example, the hadith inside that the Prophet ﷺ used, or that the scholars use inside Kitab al-Tawheed, for instance, if I had locked the door, then the thief couldn't have got in so easily. If I had set the alarm, then the alarm would have went off and the thief wouldn't have got in here because I would have woke up. If You know, if I'd have left the dog outside all night, then the dog would have barked and scared the burglar away. Statements like this. لو أني فعلت. If only I did this, كان كذا وكذا, then such and such would have happened. Right? Don't say that. فلا تقول. Don't say لو أني فعلت. If I had done كان كذا وكذا. Somebody just lost their Muharram. Somebody lost their earphones. That's better now.
Is okay now?
Yeah. I don't know if it was
Switched
you or
over
not.
to my iPad after.
Yeah, I don't know if it was you or not, but somebody. Can I tell?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. So any فعلت, if only I had done كان كذا وكذا, then such and such would have been. ولكن قل, but instead say. ولكن but قل, say. So like, but instead say. You don't have to have the word instead, but it means that. ولكن قل. Don't say this, but say that. قدر الله وما شاء فعل. قدر الله means Allah decrees. وما شاء, and what He wanted or what He wants, He does or takes place. فعل, what He wants, He does, or what He wants takes place. قدر الله وما شاء فعل. What Allah decreed and what He wanted, He did, or what He wanted takes place, however you want to translate it. فَإِنَّ لَوْ, for verily lo, the word lo, if, تفتح عمل الشيطان. تفتح, meaning from fataha, meaning to open. That's real ugly there. Fataha, meaning to open, like Fatiha. Fataha, to open. Lo tafta. It's feminine though, when it begins with a ta, because we're talking about the kalima lo. Lo is a kalima. It's a word. And so kalima is feminine, so we're going to use taftahu, not yaftahu, but taftahu. It opens. Amala opens what? Amala mansoob, maf'ulun bi, right? Amala, the work of shaitan. Mudaf ilay. Lo taftah amala shaitan. It opens the work or the handiwork of, or the, however you want to translate that, it opens the door for shaitan, even though the word is not door. It opens the works of shaitan. Shaitan, it gets you to start thinking and stop putting things in the hands of Allah. You start putting them in your own hands and you start doing that. Lo taftahu amala shaitan. Lo opens the word if, opens the door for the work of shaitan. Now, does that mean we say, for instance, tomorrow, if there's 5 of y'all in the class, we're going to do this? No, it doesn't mean that. I can say if there's 5 of y'all for the future. We're talking about for the past. Things which are decreed, right? Things which already took place and things which already happened. We're not talking about, we say, if I come home in the summertime and if I remember, I'll bring you guys a book. No. I say inshallah because I'm talking about doing something in the future, but I can use the word if there. If I see you this summer, inshallah, and I remember, I will pay you the $20 I owe you, as an example. If. right? No problem in the future. If here, we're talking about in the past. Lo anni fa'altu, past tense. If I had only done kana kada wa kada, kana, it would have been. Talking about the past tense. We're not talking about the future, we're talking about the past. In asabaka shay'un, if some difficulty befalls you, some hardship or something, calamity, that might be a better word, calamity. If a calamity strikes, إِذَا أُصِيبَ بِمُصِيبَةٍ, if you are stricken with a calamity, that might be better. وَإِنْ أَصَابَكَ شَيْءٍ, and if any calamity hits you, فَلَا تَقُلْ لَوْ إِنْ أَنِّي فَعَلْتُ لَوْ أَنِّي فَعَلْتُ, and if I had only done كَانَ كَذَا وَكَذَا, then such and such would have been. وَلَكِنْ قُلْ قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ, but say what Allah decrees and what He wills takes place. فَإِنَّ لَوْ تَفْتَحُ عَمَلَ الشَّيْطَانِ, for verily low, the word low, if, opens the door, or opens the door for the works of shaitan, or opens the works of shaitan, however you want to translate it. This hadith is the Sahih Muslim, number 6774, from Abu Hurairah. Any questions?
No. If, like, what about if somebody said, well, if I had that ability, I would do such and such, or if I had that house, I would do such and such.
No problem. I mean, if you had it in the future.
I get it. Okay.
Because this is something you should teach your children. This is something you should teach your children. You should tell your children. Imam Ahmed used to tell his children when he sent them in the streets, he would say, man, like when you leave out of the house, because you get rewarded for your intentions. Even if you don't do it, and you intend to do a good deed, and you don't do it, you still get rewarded one good deed. So if you go outside with the intention, if I see something harmful in the road, I'm going to move it. If I see an old lady needing some help across the street, I'm a helper. If I see an old man needing to take his groceries in the house, I'm going to get out and I'm going to help him take his groceries. If I see a little kid fall, I'm going to help him back up. If I see someone need help, I'm going to do this. If I see a bum, not a bum, I'm sorry. If I see a homeless person who needs money, I'm going to give him some money. You know what I mean? If you teach your kids to go outside with that intention, then they're going to get rewarded for it, even if they don't see the homeless person, even if they don't see the lady, even if they don't do this. So they have that intention. If I had $1,000, as the Prophet ﷺ told us, that some of the people, when he described 4 categories of people, those who are rich and do good with their money, and those who wish they were rich, right? So that they could do good, to them. Man, if I had $1 million, I'd give it to the masjid. To have that intention. But then you got to be wary, because if Allah gives you $1 million, you don't give it to the masjid, man, that was hypocrisy. So you got to be careful. But you should have that if intention in the future. But to say if I had had a house back then, I wouldn't have got in the trouble I was into. No, that's the if that's prohibited. But if in the future, no problem. If I had this, I'd do good deeds. If I was a hafiz of Quran, man, I would recite in the middle of the market, in the middle of the mall, or in the middle of the Bush Stadium. I'd get out there and, fine. You know what I mean? If I had a beautiful voice, I'd go out in Bush Stadium when they're going to throw out the first baseball of the year. Instead of singing the national anthem, I'd recite Al-Fatiha. You know what I mean? No problem. But if, for the past tense, is what we're talking about. Yalla ya Yasin, اقرأ لنا.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقل لو أني فعلت كان كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل فإن لو تفتح عمل الشيطان.
فيك. يلا يا أبا طاهر. No, I'm sorry. Muharram. I'm going down the list.
قال
That's how.
النبي قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقل لو أني فعلت كان كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل.
نعم.
فإن لو تفتح عمل الشيطان.
نعم. أبو طاهر.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقول لو أني فعلت كأن كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل فإن لو تفتح عمل الشيطان.
نعم. عبد الله.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن أصابك شيء فلا
شيء not شاء
شيء فلا تقول لو أني فعلت كان كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل فإن لو تفتح عمل الشيطان.
الله يبارك فيكم. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة فيقول إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون اللهم اجرني في مصيبتي واخلف لي خيرا منها إلا أجره الله في مصيبته وأخلف له خيرا منه. ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة ما من عبد, there is no slave, no servant. ما من عبد, there is no slave, there is no servant basically. Ma negative, right? Min abdin, mean from a slave, meaning there is not a slave, there is no servant. Tusibuhu musibatun. Tusibuhu here is to strike him. Musibatun, a calamity, that no calamity or no difficulty strikes him. Musiba here, can anyone tell me what part or what role it's playing in the sentence?
مفعول به.
لا, مفعول به is mansoob.
مبتدا.
No. No. مفعول به, مفعول, same thing. It's after a verb and it's marfu'.
فاعل.
The fa'il. No servant, a musiba strikes him. The musiba here is the one doing the striking, right? Musiba, tusibuhu musibatun. The musiba is the one doing the striking here, right? So it's marfu'. Tusibuhu musibatun. Fayaqul. And then he says, so no slave is basically stricken by a calamity, or no calamity strikes a servant. And he says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He says, Inna, verily we, lillah, belong to Allah. Wa inna, and verily we, ilayhi, to him, raji'un, are returning, are returners. Raji'un meaning This is a noun here, right? This is a plural of raji', meaning one who returns. The one who is returning. And to him we are returning. It's not a verb like it sounds when you translate it. Verily to Allah belong, and to him we return. It's actually a noun, but I think in English it just doesn't sound right. وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. It means, and verily we are raji'un. We are returners to him. Right? Meaning we have to return to him. That's not how you're going to translate it, but that's the actual Arabic of it. If to say, and to him we return, we say narji'u ilayhi. Ilayhi narji'u, like that, right? But raji'un is a noun, and to him we are returners. As I said, though, that's not going to sound good in English, and so they say, and to him we return, which is fine. But just so you know, that's like Muslim, Muslimun, Mu'min, Mu'minun, Raji', Raji'un, right? Inna lillahi, we belong to Allah, wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and to him we are returners, or to him we return. And he continues his dua, Allahumma, ya Allah, ijurni fi musibati. Ijurni fi musibati. Ajurni means save me. Right? Means here, ajur means save me. Like we say, ajirna minan nar, save us from the hellfire. Right? Ajurni, save me from my difficulty or my calamity. Right? Save me from my difficulty or my calamity. وَاخْلِفْ لِي خَيْرًا مِنْهُ. وَاخْلِفْ لِي, here from jur is to pull away, right? To drag, as we said the other day. يَجُرُ الْحِسَانَ الْعَجَلَةِ. The horse is pulling the wagon or the cart, right? So here we're saying, pull away from me my difficulty. Save me from my difficulty. وَاخْلِفْ لِي خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. وَاخْلِفْ, we know this word, khalifa, right? Khalifa or khalf, something that comes after, right? Wakhlif here means, and to have like a substitute, like the Khalifa means the one who is taking the place of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came after him, but he's taking his place, right? So wakhlif li, substitute for me, khayran minha, better than it. Better than it. وَاخْلِفْ لِي خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. And substitute for me better than it. So this word khalafa or akhlafa is used, for instance, if the imam passes gas in salat, or if he remembered that he didn't have wudu, or if something happens to him that he has to leave the salat, he yakhlif someone in his place. He pulls someone out of the front row to take his place in salat. Right? Substitutes him in the salat. وَاخْلِفْ لِي خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. And substitute for me better than it. So no one is stricken. No slave is stricken with a calamity. Or no calamity strikes a slave. And then he says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong, and to Allah we return. Allahumma, O Allah, ujirni fi musibati, save me from my calamity. Wakhlif li khayran minha, and substitute for me better than it. إِلَّا أَجَرَهُ اللَّهُ, except that Allah rewards him. Ajara, like ajra, Allahu, Allahu. Allah substitute, or Allah rewards him. Fi musibatihi. Allah saves him, not ajra. Ajra from this word here. Not ajr like the reward, but ajarahu, except that Allah saves him. Allah saves him. Allah is the fa'il here. He's the doer. It's marfu'. Except that Allah saves him in his musibah, in his difficulty or calamity. وَأَخْلَفَ لَهُ, and he substitutes for him, lahu, for him, خَيْرًا مِنْهَا, better than it. This hadith is in Muslim, right? From Salama, number 2127. 2127 from Salama. Any questions?
لا.
Yalla, ya. Where we at? Yasin, start us off, whatever.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة فيقول إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون اللهم اجرني في مصيبتي وأخلف لي خيرا منها إلا أجره الله في مصيبته وأخلف له خيرا منها.
I'm gonna take this back, even though I'm gonna take this back. It says in this translation in Sahih Muslim that the word ujurni, it doesn't mean pull me or save me. And maybe there's a relationship that I can look up later on. But here it says reward me, from the word ajr. Reward me for my, or in my difficulty. So reward me for that. Right? Compensate me with something, basically, and follow it up or replace it, substitute it, compensate it with something better. Except that Allah rewards him for his affliction and compensates him or replaces him with something better. So here, at the translation, it says it has compensate me. So I apologize for that mistake. Or it says reward me. It says reward me for the word ajr instead of pull. But like I said, I need to look up, is there some relationship there in between those two things, inshallah ta'ala. I apologize. So it says, ajurni, reward me for my thing. That's what it says in Sahih Muslim. I apologize. It uses the word reward. Yalla ya Muharram.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة فيقول إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون اللهم أجرني في مصيبتي وأخلف لي خيرا منها إلا أجره الله في مصيبته وأخلف له خيرا منها.
نعم. يا أبو طاهر.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة فيقول إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون اللهم اجرني في مصيبتي وأخلف لي خيرا منها إلا أجره الله في مصيبته وأخلف له خير منها.
عبد الله.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة فيقول إنا لله وإنا إليه.
What? In a what? What'd you say, man? No, in the very beginning. I want to hear the beginning. Inna what?
Inna lillahi.
There you go.
Is that what I said?
No, you said inna lillahi.
Okay. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Allahumma ajurni fi musibati wa akhlif li khayran minha illa ajaruhullahu fi musibati wa akhlafa lahu khayran minha.
Inshallah ta'ala. I apologize about that mistake. I'm going to look it up, inshallah ta'ala.
بارك الله فيك.
إذا خاف ها إذا خاف قوم آسف. if خاف, to fear, from خوف, that's how you would look it up. قوم, if you fear a people. قوم is mansub because it's a maf'ulun bi. If you fear who? You fear a people, right? So if you're scared of somebody, what do you say? If you fear something, right? كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خاف قوم قال. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, when he feared a people, he would say, اللهم إنا نجعلك في نفورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم. This hadith is in Sunan Abi Dawood. At the bottom, it says, Muttafaqun alayh. I couldn't find it in Bukhari and Muslim anywhere. And when I looked it up on the internet, in a number of places, it says Abu Dawood and it's not there. Now this doesn't mean that the author is wrong. Number one, it could mean that I just can't find it. He has a different copy, or I just can't find it. Or it could mean that he wrote something and that the typesetter made a mistake and got some papers mixed up or something. Because a few of them coming up, it says, like the next one it says is in Nasa'i, and it's actually in Bukhari. So the same thing happened. It would say, he said it's in Nasa'i, and it's actually in Bukhari. So, like I said, I could be just not finding it, but I'm finding it in a different place. Or it could be a mistake from the typesetter, or it could be he has a different copy than I have. But this hadith is in Sunan Abi Dawood. And inside the hadith it says Abdullah. It's from Abdullah. Now, who is Abdullah? Abdullah ibn Qais. If you want, and I'm not saying that you want to impress a sheikh, like you want to do it for kibr or something like that. But if you want to impress a sheikh, a lot of times when you get to someone, they'll ask you, for instance, they'll ask you the opposite of how I'm giving it to you right now, because they want to test you. It'll say, for instance, it'll give a person's kunya in the hadith, and the sheikh will ask you, who is that? Who is that? What's his real name? Right? So his real name is Abdullah ibn Qais, but we know him more formally and more commonly as Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. But this hadith says it's from Abdullah. And so that's difficult. Who is Abdullah? We don't know. So you have to go find out who Abdullah is, right? So he is Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Abdullah ibn Qais. And this hadith is number 1537 inside of Abu Dawood. Okay, now the hadith says, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خاف قوما. If he feared a people, he would say, Allahumma Ya Allah. Inna, again, here we have, verily we, naj'aluka. We make you, naj'al, we make you, fi nuhurihim. Fi nuhurihim, from nahar. We know this word, nahar. How do we know it? Because we know, inna a'tainaka al-kawthar, fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Right? The chest, or slaughtering. Right? Here, Ali radiallahu anhu, this is on a side note, Ali radiallahu anhu, this hadith says, fasalli li rabbika wanhar, then pray to your Lord and sacrifice. The scholars use this as a proof that the sacrifice on the day of Eid al-Adha has to be after the Salah. And if it's done before the Salah, it's not considered as the dhabh or the nahar that you do for Hajj. It's not considered from that dhabiha that you do for, or udhiyah that you do for Hajj. Rather, it has to be done after the Salah because it says, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْهَرْ, pray and then sacrifice. But Ali radiallahu anhu, in a different tafsir, he uses this word wanhar as a proof that you should put your hands on your chest. They're not on your stomach and they're not hanging down to your sides like the rawafid. But Ali radiallahu anhu says you put your hands on your chest. Wanhar. And the thing here is nuhur. Why is it called nahar? For slaughtering. Because a camel, you poke the spear or the knife or the sword in its chest, like in the top of its chest, where the throat meets the chest. That's where you poke it in to cut it, if you've ever seen it on a YouTube video or something. So that's why it's called the nahar, the chest. It's as if you're poking the knife or the spear in his chest in order to slaughter him. So, Allahumma, O Allah, inna naj'aluka fi nuhurihim. We put you, or we make you at their chest, meaning you face them. You face them, right? You face them. Right? We make you in front of us, right? Facing them, basically, right? وَنَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ شُرُورِهِمْ. And we seek refuge in you. نَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ شُرُورِهِمْ. And we seek refuge in you from their evil. So, نَجْعَلُكَ فِي نُهُورِهِمْ. We place you at their chest, meaning we're putting you to help us fight for them. You understand? Fight for us, I mean. وَنَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ شُرُورِهِمْ. And we seek refuge from their evil. Right? Shar, shurur. Shurur is the plural of shar. From their evils, or evil. Right? Now, inside of Sunan Abi Dawood, which is the Sheikh Zubair Ali Zay, and I don't have Al-Albani's grading here in front of me, he says this hadith is da'if. But that doesn't mean it is. Allah knows best. Any questions about this hadith?
So fi here is at Nuj Aluka fi.
Yeah, we can't make Allah in their chests. Here it means at their chests. We place you at their chests. As we said, these pronouns, fi, not pronouns, but prepositions, fi and bi and min, were in ila, and an, all of them don't have a meaning until they're in a sentence. They don't have a necessary meaning on their own. You won't get the proper meaning until they're placed into a sentence. Any other questions? Yalla, Abu Tahir, read for us, brother.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خاف قوما قال اللهم إنا نجعلك في نهورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم.
Abdullah.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خاف قوما قال اللهم إنا نجعلك في نهورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم.
نعم يلا يا ياسين.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خاف قوما قال اللهم إني نجعلك في نحورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم.
يلا يا محرم.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خاف قوما قال اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم.
Now it's up to you guys. We got one hadith left in this chapter, or we can wait till the next day, or we can just take the next short hadith. It's up to you guys. We already went overtime, so it's up to you guys.
It's up to everybody else. I'm good.
الدعاء على العدو. الدعاء على العدو. Al-adu is an enemy. An enemy. Ad-du'a al-adu. The dua or the supplication against the enemy. Da'a an-nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ala al-ahzab. فقال. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made dua. Da'a is the past tense verb. Da'a yad'u. Da'a yad'u. The Prophet ﷺ made dua upon the ahzab, from the word hizb, the groups, the parties. So he said, Allahumma munzil al-kitab, sari al-hisab, ihzam al-ahzab, Allahumma ihzimhum wa zalzilhum. Said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made dua against the ahzab. Inside of Bukhari, as we said, this hadith in the footnote says it's in Nasa'i, but I couldn't find it in Nasa'i. I couldn't find it in Nasa'i, and I found it in, it could be in Al-Kubra or something, but it is in Bukhari, number 2933, from Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa. Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa, 2933. It says that he made the dua against the mushrikeen inside this hadith here. He said, دعا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم الأحزاب على المشركين فقال. Right? Because they called it the day of Ahzab. They called it the day of Ahzab, the day of the parties. This is the battle of Ghazwatul Ahzab, when the people fought him. Surah in the Quran, surah number 33, Al-Ahzab. He said, Allahumma, Ya Allah, Munzil al-Kitab. Munzil is the one who sent down from Nazala. Right? Nazala, anzala, munzil. The one who sent down the book, meaning the one who revealed the book. Inside of Sahih Bukhari it says the revealer of the book. But it could be the one who sent down the book, more precise, but one who sent down the book is the one who revealed it. No problem. Munzil al-kitab. The revealer of the book, the sender down of the book. Sari al-hisab. Sari means quick, fast. From sara'a. Sari'u ila al-maghfirah. Race to the forgiveness of your Lord. Sari'. Fast in hisab. Reckoning. The one who's fast in reckoning. Hisab. Taking account. Taking account. The one who's fast in reckoning or taking account. Ihzim al-ahzab. Ihzim is to defeat. Ihzim, to defeat. 1 second, y'all. Ihzim al-ahzab. Defeat the groups, the parties. Allahumma, O Allah, ihzimhum wa zalzilhum. It means to, O Allah, defeat them, wa zalzilhum, meaning from earthquake, to shake them. To shake them. Zalzilhum. O Allah, defeat them, wa zalzilhum, and shake them. Defeat them and shake them. From zalzala. This is a 4-letter word. No, I can't write it for some reason. Zalzala. Right? That's how you look it up. Zalzala. Shake them. Right? We all know Surah Al-Zilzala, right? Right? So, ihzim al-ahzab, defeat them, right? Reroute them, whatever you want to, vanquish them, get rid of them, right? Defeat the ahzab, Allahumma zimhum wa zalzilhum, and shake them. Any questions? Come on, Abdullah. You said la. You read then.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على الأحزاب فقال اللهم منزل الكتاب سريع الحساب اهزم الأحزاب اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم.
نعم. يلا يا ياسين.
دعا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على الأحزاب فقال اللهم منزل الكتاب سريع الحساب اهزم الأحزاب اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم.
نعم. يلا يا محرم.
دعا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على الأحزاب فقال اللهم منزل الكتاب سريع الحساب اهزم الأحزاب اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم.
نعم. What about him? Abu Tahir.
دعا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على الأحزاب فقال اللهم منزل الكتاب سريع الحساب اهزم الأحزاب اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم.
نعم. From ha, zeen, meme, right? Ha, zeen, meme, defeat. right? Reroute, to route them, however you want to translate it, defeat them. Jazakallah khairan. Muawiyah heard you guys and said, you guys are already good. None of y'all need to come to class anymore.
There it is.
Yeah, okay. Wish thinking.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan, ya akhwan. Sorry for taking y'all over, but it's a Saturday for me, so I don't have to take him to school right away, and I figured we could finish 1 or 2 more hadiths.
Barakallahu feek. Barakallahu feek.
You guys are benefiting.
Alhamdulillah. Doing the shit.
Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam.
الله وبركاته.